Hey everybody. So one of the great tricks of neoliberalism is convincing people that issues discussing race and issues discussing economics and class, that those are two separate discussions. And I completely disagree. Those two issues could not be more intersected. And so this is a clip from Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. And I don't know anything about this guy beyond this clip, but it's a 3-minute clip and I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to share it with you guys and then kind of dissect why I think it's so important.
Martin Luther King Jr. was jailed once in Birmingham, and he said he turned to his white jailer and said, "You know, you and I aren't that much different. We're not that, there's not a huge gulf that separates us. You don't have control over the institutions which govern your life. You don't have a basic say-so in American democracy, and yet the dominant forces of white supremacy manipulate you into believing you are my enemy." And unfortunately, that's a strategy that hasn't changed from Nixon and before Nixon, George McGovern before that on the Democratic side and the Republican side. And so I think what we have to tell our white brothers who are working class, blue collar cats, is that you're in the same boat as most African American people, as most Latino people. You suffer from the economy equally. If you allow elite white politicians to manipulate you into believing that your real enemy is a black guy who works alongside you in a factory where you're both inhaling toxic chemicals that will lead both of you to die early, as opposed to this elite figure in the American political echelon or corporate structure that is living off of your anxiety about this black guy, you're going down to defeat. And I think what we have to say to them is that we're in a larger same boat in terms of class, in terms of some of the cultural values we share, even if we have different racial approaches to that. It's interesting that we have a language and vocabulary for race in America, but we don't have much of a vocabulary for class. And many people can't make that distinction. Black or white? Well, what about poor or rich? What about health care or non-health care? And when we begin to break the numbers down, the number of white people on welfare, the number of white people who are poor, the number of white people who don't control the government in ways they'd like to see, and the number of white people who say, you know what, you want affirmative action, but why should your kid get an advantage over me? Or you want reparations, why should your kid get an advantage over mine when we don't have any economic wherewithal either? And I say to them, look, it's not either or. What's amazing is that right-wing conservatives become Marxists when it comes to the issue of race. Aha, you better watch out because those black people are taking money out of your pocket. How many black CEOs of major Fortune 500 companies are there? How many black senators in the Senate? How many even black Congress people? How many people where it counts for white people in terms of their livelihood? Are they subject to black rule? Not many. So when white people back up and begin to make an analysis about how they have been manipulated by these white elites, there will be the possibility of forging a much stronger link between progressive, working class, blue collar, white and black and Latino and red people as opposed to the continued manipulation of white working and corporate elites.
All right. And so I thoroughly enjoyed that clip. I thought that was so good. I feel like he did such a great job of breaking it down. I'm going to touch on a few things I feel like he didn't touch on, but just know that I think that was spectacular. That really cemented what I'm trying to talk about. Another thing is that I think that this is coming from neoliberalism. It has convinced us that simple representation makes a difference. That okay, Obama was president. That's a big deal. That we had the first black president. Sure, that is a big deal. That's significant. That's significant that we had the first black president. But we got to remember, when Barack Obama was president, South Side of Chicago, murder capital of the world. Obama is from Chicago. The lives of poor black Americans did not get better under Obama. It just didn't. He didn't structurally change the system in the ways that it needs to be changed for actual reform to take place. And we saw this play out in 2020, and it was so frustrating seeing it time and time again. But it's just because we have these two issues, race and class, we have it separated. But people would always ask Bernie Sanders, what's your plan for black people? And you start talking about Medicare for all, you start talking about free college, you start talking about raising the minimum wage, to be like, yeah, that's economic stuff. But what are you going to do for black people? And it's like, this is my plan for black people. But like, they've made it seem like you have to have like a specific plan. And it's like, no. The key to how you fix these problems of inequality that we see in this country is with universal social democratic policies, Medicare for all, free college, make the minimum wage a living wage. We need to massive reform of criminal justice, end the war on drugs. These are basic things. A Green New Deal. We, it's not difficult, and I think that I saw the statistic. It was that if all of Bernie Sanders' policies were enacted, it would be the largest transfer of wealth across racial lines since Reconstruction. And I mean, if that doesn't say it all right there, that is the crux of the issue. These are not things that should be discussed separately. These are things that should be talked together holistically. And this is why I think that a lot of people they're so conflicted, and they think that, oh, they're like, like he was talking about, he's like, you have these like poor white people that like are like, oh, like affirmative action and like this and that, and like, oh, these, people are, they're robbing us and everything. It's just, it's changing the narrative where it's turning the poor against each other, the downtrodden against each other, so that so that people don't look upwards at where the real problem is. That the problem exists within the system, within this corrupt system. We need to get money out of politics. That is so important. That is the key issue, in my opinion. Everything else follows if we get money out of politics. But I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys found it somewhat interesting. I'm definitely going to look more into this Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. I will post this link to this video below in case you guys want to watch it without me talking sandwiched around it. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you guys disagreed with anything I said, please leave a comment down below. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.